gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Cantu is on the other side. Hopefully, everybody had a great and fantastic Mother's Day weekend. I know I had a great time being with my mom, being with my family all around. Angel, my wife as well, being a first-time mother. Angel, I'm pretty sure I could say the same thing for you. How was your Mother's Day, by the way?
It was great. It was great, honestly. So, we're Mexican, so we celebrated two Mother's Day. So we celebrated Saturday, which is March 10th, which is Mexican's Mother's Day, and we did the cookout. We had a brunch and then a cookout, and then on American Mother's Day, which is Sunday, we just went out for a dinner because we didn't want to do the morning again because it's gonna be chaotic, crazy. It's always packed. So we did what the veterans did and uh went out for
Veterans.
went out for dinner. The reason I say that it's because when we went out to eat uh for dinner, there was a bunch of old school couples who I'm pretty sure had been married for a long time. It was like, you know what, let's avoid the brunch and go out to dinner. So we're joining with a bunch of old folks. So that's what I said. What the veterans do.
Shout out to the old folks out there. But
Absolutely.
shout out to our mothers. Applause for all the lovely mothers, grandmothers, aunts,
What did
tias,
you do?
sisters, mother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, all that.
What did you do? Yeah.
We did a fish fry on Sunday actually with the family.
Okay.
And my uncle did a little fish fry. We had a little bit of catfish, shrimp. Not your typical Mexican dinner, right? Yeah, we did
Yeah.
something different. But Saturday, my wife and I had gone to Holy Moly. I don't know if you've been there,
Yeah.
but it was pretty nice. It was really fun. It was nice to get out and enjoy the weekend with her. Like I said, it's gonna be her first time being a mom, and try to make it as special as possible. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. It's amazing.
but yeah, the Astros, my God, title of this episode: win five straight home series. Of course, they did drop one just as of right now. So if you tune into the game, hopefully you're with us with the post game of Game One of this Kansas City Royals series, and we're gonna talk about the recap of the Cincinnati Red series. But the title of this, like I had mentioned, Astros win five straight home series. They've been on a roll, man. After getting swept at home against the San Francisco Giants, they've won five straight home series, and that's just you wouldn't have thought the Astros will be winning series at home from last year, struggling at home. Being on the road, they were a road team that's always been great, but it's kind of been vice versa this past season. I mean, right now they're playing great at home and on the road, which we'll have some stats here talking about the offense. They've been struggling, but hey, got the series win on Mother's Day weekend, of course, and man, Ronel Blanco was one of them talks of this series.
Absolutely. He really saved the Astros. The Astros desperately needed a long outing for Renault Blanco after Lance McCullers only got one out, and I know we're about to talk about it in a bit, but he did amazing.
Yeah, and let's talk about it right now. Actually, I mean, Lance McCullers Jr. just it was his first start since October 3rd, 2022. I mean, he hasn't pitched at Minute Maid at that time. Didn't have a pitch clock either, and I'm pretty sure adrenaline was pumping. He was pretty sure amped up to get back on that mound and pitch in front of the home crowd. And like you had mentioned, Angel, he only got one out, three hits allowed, seven earned runs, three walks, no strikeouts. Did hit Matt McClain, by the way, 36 pitches, 17 strikes, eight swings, and two whiffs. Only them two whiffs came from the sinker and the slider. Man, command was very shaky for him. Wasn't hitting his spots. Obviously, with the three walks right there, the hit by batter too. I mean, his command was just not there. And I mean, he looked really decent against the Chicago White Sox. He had, I want to say, two or three walks as well, right there. One of the walks really shouldn't have been a walk; it should have been a strikeout, but home plate umpire didn't give him a call. However, I mean, just this series, it just wasn't that serious. And man, the Reds batted around the first inning, like just batted around against the Astros, and would put up eventually 10 earned runs on the board with Logan Van White coming in. But of course, after the post game, there's something that you don't want to hear as a parent, as a Major League Baseball player, as a fan. I would say too, if you're a big fan of the Astros, you wouldn't want to hear something about this. Getting death threats and with the family, and it was just terrible. I mean, we got a little clip of it. Jeremy Branham, we're taking some of his footage from that video from Lance McCullers Jr.'s post game interview with Space City Network.
Yeah, it's been a tough evening. You know, I understand people are very passionate and people love the Astros and love sports, but threatening to find my kids and murder them is a little bit tough to deal with. So, um, just as a father, I think I there have been many threats over the years aimed at me mostly, and I think actually one or two people have from other issues around baseball actually had to go to jail for things like that. But I think bringing kids into the equation, threatening to find them or next time they see us in public, they're gonna stab my kids to death. Things like that is tough to hear as a dad.
Well, Angel, I mean, I'm gonna ask you this first because you are a parent. I'm soon to be a parent, and when you have your son, hearing that, especially like let's just say you're in McCullough's shoes, for instance, and you get them kind of messages and threats and all that bad juju, like all that bad stuff. Give me your thoughts of the whole situation, your opinion. You have the floor.
Yeah, that's just low. That's very low. I don't think the person who did that's an actual fan. That's just a person who's not in his right mind because it's just a game. It's been a children's game since T-ball, and now although they're paid millions of dollars, they're out there in front of thousands of people. At the end of the day, it's just a game. They're athletes, but they're also human, right? And doing something to Nas McCullers, a guy who's worked his ass off to give back and pitch for the Astros, a team that he's shown that he adores, a team that he loves, and being able to wear that uniform that brings a bunch of pride to Lance McCullers, and to in his first home start, none of this being obviously it didn't go his way, but at you know it's a hard pill to swallow when you're excited for a game and it didn't go your way. You're already upset as it is as a competitor up there, but then to make matters worse, you're receiving death threats about your own children. That's just he honestly handled it better than I would. I would have been. He looks like you know at the end of it, like he's kind of just like calm and stuff like that. But I would have been furious. I know Joe Espada was furious too in that post game too. But
Interview, yeah.
yeah, that's just slow. That's not a true baseball fan. That's not a true sports fan. That's not a true Houstonian right there. Because I know Houston's fans are passionate about their Astros, but they also have common sense when it comes to stuff like this. And you know, one thing about the Astros fans that separates them, like for example, Yankees fan, is that they don't boo their players. They don't boo anything like that. They just wish them well and good luck the other time. But that's just terrible for the game. For the game, terrible, bad luck for Houston as well. Honestly, and honestly, Matt McCullers deserves an apology because for how much he writes for the city of Houston for the Astros to get treated like that, it's completely off.
Yeah, HPD and security were notified after the game just
Yeah,
to make sure McCullers and his family is safe. But like I had tweeted, I put it is utterly unacceptable.
absolutely.
Like you said, this is a game. It's a children's game. We've all played it when we're little. We played it when we're 3 years old. And to me, the day and age that we live in right now is social media. Everybody can just get away with a lot of things because you can just be behind a bot, I guess, quote
Yeah,
unquote. You can really call them people. And another part of it is because people don't know like the game of baseball. Everybody wants to win. No doubt about that. Everybody wants to win. We want to win. When we're playing our game, if we're playing softball, we're playing like any competitive sport. You can do sports, recreational activities, all that type of stuff. At the end of the day, you do want to win. But coming after people's families, saying stuff like that, come on. Like, grow the fuck up, basically. Like,
yeah,
people need to get their shit in check and grow the fuck up because that is just bringing his kids into it. Yes, he had a bad game, and he even said it himself. Like, yeah, it was not the game that he wanted, but bringing the kids, his family into it, no, don't do that. That's not a man. If it was a lady or a woman or teenage girl, I mean, that's just not right either. at the end of the day, you just can't do nothing like that. And but it's just now the day and age that we live in, being social media, you can just do whatever the hell you want. You can say whatever the hell you want to say behind a closed door. And the closed door is a fake profile or whatever the hell. I don't know how, if it was DMs or like, I don't know the whole story about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, dude, we're all humans. Everybody makes mistakes. You think McCullers wanted to go out there and get one freaking out in his first start back at Dyken Park? Hell no. Nobody wants to do that. If I was in his shoes, I wouldn't want to do that either. But that's the game of baseball. You win some and you lose some. And that's just in life in general, too. You're going to win some matches. You're going to win that fight. You're going to win that argument. You're going to win that case. You're going to lose it and all this other shit. But at the end of the day, we're all humans. Everybody makes mistakes. But that right there, that's not a mistake. That's just
Yeah.
a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was again that should be nowhere in schools, in baseball games, work environments. Like that's receiving threats anywhere. It's just completely unacceptable, no matter where you're at, how big of an audience to who it's directed to. But you're right. It's just the way social media is. A bunch of people can hide behind a curtain and say whatever they want, like you said, and see no and not be reprimanded. But I hope the person who did this, gets caught and gets the karma he or she deserved, because that's completely terrible.
Nah, they need to they need to check themselves. Honestly, they really
Yeah.
need to check themselves because that's just plain old stupid. Like it's just dumb, and I hate to like cuss and I hate to say it like that, but it's frankly disturbing. It sucks because I'm fixing to be a parent, and it's like, do you want somebody to tell your kids like what they told McCullers' kids? Like, no. Like
So,
at the end of
yeah.
the day, everybody wants to protect their family. Everybody wants to protect their children. And think about it now. The Astros after this series are going to be on the road. And now McCullers has to be like thinking, I'm pretty sure in his mind, he's going to be thinking about his family, the
Yeah.
protection and the safety of them. Maybe they go to Arlington whenever they travel with the Astros to Texas, but it's kind of like now you really got to watch your back wherever you go. And that
Yeah.
completely, honestly, sucks.
See, Lance McCullers should be just brain on baseball, spending time with his family. But now it's, you know, keeping his head high, looking around, checking corners, just have when he's walking in the street or going somewhere to his car, he's, on like red alert because of stupid people like that. And that's gonna and that could potentially affect the game too. Because your head's not in the right place. Baseball's a game of mentality. Like you can't be thinking about something else while you're in the field, because that will catch up to you, right? When you're in the baseball field, your your mind should be in a good space, you know, thinking about the game, thinking about what you pitch, but not unless because it's gonna have his family in the back of his mind, thinking about their safety, their stuff. So it's just making matters worse than it is.
Yeah, you hit a point too. He's just coming back from this rehab, busting his ass, trying to get back to pitching, being able to be a contributor to a club that's had so much success. Him being on the sideline, having to see 2023 them losing it, 2024 losing against Detroit. Like he had to be on the sidelines, just looking at everything transpire, looking at some wins, some losses, like just like he would want to contribute. He wants to be healthy. He wants to be out there with the guys and all that. He tried doing that last year, going into 24. I mean, at the end of 24, he was trying his best to get back on track, but I mean, they just couldn't get him back on track, and he had just had to wait another day, not even a day, another couple months. He hadn't pitched in 900 days. I mean, it just frankly sucks that you're coming back, your second start, you're trying to get back on track to help this club win ball games and have good starts. And now you have another thing on your mind with all of this transpiring on Saturday.
Completely terrible.
So
Oh,
just wanted to give our opinions on that. It just, like I said, it just frankly sucks. If you're on social media, please, please, I'm just saying this from me. Don't say stupid shit like that to athletes because at the end of the day, we're all humans. I know you're very passionate about your sports team. Everybody's passionate about their clubs. Shit, when the Rockets lost in Game 7, I'm like, damn, they should have won because, of course, as a Houstonian, you're tired of seeing the Rockets lose against the damn Warriors every damn playoff series.
Texans too, not being able to get back.
Yeah,
The
not even
Chiefs.
trying to get into the first round, losing that 24-0 game against Kansas City at Arrowhead. The Cougars losing the championship against freaking Florida. I mean, I can go on and on, but at the end of the day, we're not going to be stupid enough to say stupid shit about doing
It's just a
something to
game.
somebody else's family.
It's just a game.
Exactly. It is just a game. At the end of the day, you just want to enjoy it with your family, with your friends, have a great time, and all that. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, please check yourself. Don't say stupid shit, and because like I said, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. We all win and we all lose.
And to the young kids out there, your digital footprint follows you. You know, it will catch up to you too. So you know,
Yes.
use common sense.
Yes, I completely agree. So sorry for all our cussing on this episode, but it's frustrating to see that because a guy like that that's helped this city, especially during Hurricane Harvey too. Like not to mention being a huge guy with the community of helping out. I mean, it just sucks. Like I said. However, we're gonna get the show on the road, and we're gonna recap that Cincinnati series. We'll recap Game One of the Kansas City series. Updates on some injuries because there's two key injuries right now. One's a positive and one's kind of a head scratcher. But we'll talk about that. Preview the next two games of the Royal Series and around the horn. Cantu, you got anything before we get started?
No, just a reminder where you can follow us. You can follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. That's F Full Steam Ahead. On Instagram, it's FSA Full Steam Ahead. You can also hear us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But let's get this show on the road.
Yes, we'll be getting some content out on our YouTube page pretty soon. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, then you won't miss it with some interviews. If you like the Mother's Day reel, that one was pretty cool to get all the players to shout their mamas and their loved ones out. So your Houston Astros are 20-20. They got that 2020 vision, I guess you can say. But the positive thing is they've won 5 straight home series at home. That is really good to see from Houston. The offense is looking really good. I have some stats on this on the recap of the Cincinnati series. But let's go with game one real quick. Did not have the great game right there. They lost 7-5, dropping the series opener against the Royals. Of course, the Royals already had won a series on the road. Well, Houston lost the series on the road. Kansas City won it at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. And Ryan Gusto, man, just one of them days at the office, I guess you can say. 2 1/3, 7 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. 68 pitches were thrown, 39 strikes, 7 swing and misses, 3 ground outs. And I can say this, his command was just not there. Location-wise as well, fastball was kind of leaving middle of the plate. A lot of players were hitting that ball really well from the top part of the order. And sure enough, they put 5 earned runs on him really quick. And obviously the 2 earned runs would come after Taylor Scott relieved.
Yeah, and for Gusto, I mean, it could be a makeshift thing. He's a rookie, so you kind of expect some outings like this where teams adjust. But he's also coming back from a start against Detroit, then a bullpen appearance, and then back to the starting rotation. So it can be a mixture of things. It can be of teams adjusting to his pitches, getting more looks at him. But it could also be kind of trying to
Type
figure
of
out who he is
too.
as a pitcher. Yeah, like, this is he a bullpen piece, a starter? It can be like that. So it can be a matter of things, but yeah, it's a rough day in the office for Ryan Gusto, and I feel like in a time where the Astros need long outings from their starters is because they are in the midst of a 17 game stretch without any days off. So saving the bullpen is going to be crucial, very crucial.
Yeah, reminder May 9th all the way to May 25th, 17 consecutive games. So the offense, real quick: Zach Jazenzo RBI double, Jeremy Pena RBI sac fly, Jake Myers 2 run single, and then Myers scored on a ground out from Cam Smith. I do, and we're going to talk about this on our overall thoughts. I do like Houston climbing back into the game. They didn't show they were giving up, got back in the fight. We're not going to go without nothing. And then the ninth inning, for example, Jose Altuve leading off, getting on base. Of course, they couldn't get that big hit, but hey, they fought. They lived for another day. They gave that opportunity to the guys behind them to try to bring them in. Obviously, being the time run at the plate, but the Astros, like I had mentioned, would drop the series opener to the Kansas City Royals, and we're gonna go to that Cincinnati
Oh,
series. Okay.
can I just say something real quick? Sorry. Uh, I just want to add to your point. Yes, the Astros did fight back, and this is the second time. Uh, I think in this homestand where they fell 10-0, and then you saw like a little surge coming where they had a chance to come back against the Reds as well. I know we'll talk about that in a bit. But the reason I bring that up is because after 6 innings, the Astros are 1-17. So they've only they've you know tried their best to come back, but they weren't able to do that. And I think a biggest thing, this is per Brian McTaggart, this is the Astros have the worst batting average in MLB with the bases loaded this year. They're batting 125 and they're 5 for 40. So in this game, Isaac Paredes had bases loaded. He got a good pitch to hit, put some good wood on it, but unfortunately turned into a double play because he hit right up the middle. Second baseman made a great play, but it's just the situational hitting. If he gets that ball up the middle, two people score easily, and then that's a tie ball game at the end of the game. So it's it's just time and place for that. But you know, after 6 innings, 7 innings, and 8 innings, they're 1-17. So I think once that number gets better, I think the Astros you can see a little bit more wins in the win column there.
Yeah, and when they score 3 to 4 runs, I mean their record's pretty damn good. But
Yeah.
when they're like less than 3 runs, I mean shit, they're not winning a lot of ball games. I will say this: runners in scored position 4 for 8. That's 500.
Mhm.
Men left on base though 9. And like you said, I mean think about it, Paredes hit that ball hard up the middle.
Yeah.
Just credit where it's due. Second baseman made a great play. Obviously, Paredes is not the fastest guy running from home to first, and they did eventually get that double play. Um, but I mean, the Astros have always, season after season after season, dealt with runners in scoring position and bases loaded as well. Really, bases loaded this year has been horrendous. I mean, they really can't find anything to get going. And sure enough, like you said, just think about Angel. If they would have got that 2 runs, it's a tie ball game in
Yeah.
the eighth inning. So Astros are just gonna have to continue trying to hit their way out of it. Though they did have a great offensive series against the Cincinnati Reds, and we're gonna go from Game 3 all the way to Game 1. We'll start off on Sunday because Ronel Blanco, my God, on Mother's Day, one of the most beautiful days, of course, for family and friends. And he puts on an amazing performance with his mom on Mother's Day. I don't know if his mom was in attendance, but it was a great performance on him. I would say it was the second best. Obviously, the no hitter, without
Yeah.
a doubt, is his best performance of his career. And that was with his mom in attendance as well, not to mention.
Hmm.
But 8 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. My gosh, have yourself a day, sir. 101 pitches, 65 of them being strikes. Career high in strikeouts with 11. Did have a little bit of help by CB Buckner. I will give him a little bit of that. And I don't know if you saw Buckner behind the plate calling some pitches.
But he
Somewhat
was
helpful.
but he was awfully bad for on both sides. I'll give him
Yes,
that. Yeah.
exactly. Not to mention that, but his record has shown in the past. I mean, he's not the best guy to have behind the plate. Though this was a huge start, and you said it, Angel, that the Astros needed from Ronel Blanco. Because we will talk about game 2 here in a second. What a crazy number of relievers were used in that game. And Blanco literally saved the bullpen by throwing 8 scoreless innings of 2 hit baseball.
Yeah. And I would agree with you by saying it's his second best outing just because of timing as well. Like you said, the Astros desperately needed a long outing, and then this has been the longest outing of Ronel Blanco's this season. Typically, he's around 5 innings, 6 innings, just because he gets into deep counts. Let's talk about the command he had this game. It was 6 innings. He had around 60 something pitches. That's usually what Renault has around 3, 4 innings. But the fact that he had some quick outs, quick innings really saved the bullets, and he was able to do this type of things. Yes, like I know he got a little trouble later, but he was able to get out of it. But one walk this time. And we talked about when he has a high walk rate, that's when things go south for Renault Blanco. But these last 4 outings, 2 walks, 2 walks, 2 walks, and then one. So it's looking good for Renault Blanco right now. Just being able to adjust. He is throwing a little bit more sliders and changeups this year. I think that's been the key, just the effectiveness. I think he's finally found a feel for it. And it's just pretty. It's a pretty good side that he's throwing, with really getting hitters off guard.
Yeah, 16 swing and misses. I mean, he was like his stuff was fantastic. In the eighth inning, going into the eighth inning, he had 86 pitches, I want to say. So,
Mhm.
like you had mentioned, Angel, when he's already throwing 60 pitches, you're already seeing him in either in the fourth or the fifth inning. But this game, I mean, he was in control.
Yeah,
In control. Defense helped him behind him, got out some little mini jams here. Only gave up, he had one hit going into the eighth, and then gave up that second hit in the eighth inning.
and
So
that
he was just fantastic, just overall.
and that hit was a fair ball. It was a little bit off the line, but according to the broadcast, it had a 90% catch probability. That was with Zach Enzo playing uh in left field. So again, that's not really his position. No one throw too much, but I mean, he was shaded a little bit to center field, so it was a longer of a run, But
Yeah.
if he would have made that catch, like there's a good chance he has a no hitter going into the sixth inning.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And just to talk about the offense real quick, Yonder Diaz, 3-run, no doubt shot. As soon as he swung that bat, he already knew it was gone, going to the train tracks. And Astros on the board 3-0. And then Christian Walker looked really good this series, 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs in game 3. And the Astros, like I said, won 6-0 in that game. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the down, and that's game 2. But
Well,
there's always some downs.
can I just say something about the offense real quick?
Go ahead.
Look at the guys who contributed: Yanni Diaz, Christian Walker. These are the guys that have been struggling at the plate. But that game against the Cincinnati Reds kind of shows what this Astros offense can do when Yanni Diaz officially finds it with Christian Walker. He's had some great at bats as of late, and he's slowly getting there. I think Astros fans are excited for that. And once he gets going, once he gets hot, a bunch of smiles, a bunch of cheers for the Astros fans. That's what's going to be happening.
Most definitely. We're going to talk about a little bit more on that offensive note with them two players on our overall thoughts. But let's get with game 2 real quick. The Astros would lose that game 13-9. I mean, in the beginning, it was like 10-0, and you're kind of like scratching your head like, how the hell are the Astros are going to get into this game? How are they going to put up some runs on the board? Shit, they almost put double digits on the board. They did a really good job. Like I had mentioned already, if you weren't here for the McCullers real quick, he only got one out, so he only won a third of an inning, 3 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, no strikeouts. He did hit one batter, 36 pitches were thrown, 17 were strikes, 8 swings, and 2 whiffs. The only 2 whiffs coming from the pitches were a sinker and a slider. He only threw one slider, and that slider was able to get a whiff. Though the command was just not there. It was just very shaky location wise, wasn't really hitting his spots really well. So like we mentioned, I mean, we don't know if it was just kind of like he was just ready and antsy to get back on that mound. Maybe it was something mechanically he wasn't doing right. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people do not want to see that happen. However, you live to fight another day, and I'm pretty sure in his next start, he'll be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, hasn't pitched in 2 years. Yes, he's had some rehab starts, but it's different shaking the rust off in minor leagues and the major leagues. In major leagues, every hitter is dangerous. I'm not saying the minor leagues there's not, right? But
Mhm.
there's really no breaks when it comes to major league hitting. Like they're in the majors for a reason, just because they can hit any pitcher anytime. And not being able to command his pitches again, 2 years. It's going to take him a while to get the feel for it, but the Astros just need him to compete. The Astros don't need him to be perfect. The Astros just need him to throw 4 or 5 innings, give him a chance to, let the offense do its thing. And it's going to be a work in progress, but I think brighter days are ahead for Lance McCullers.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the pitching too, man, because they're running low. They are honestly, in my opinion, I think they're rolling low. But yeah, like you mentioned, barely coming back, barely coming back. Second start of this season, like everybody wants him to throw 6 scoreless innings. Like, no, give me a break. Barely coming back. Not too worried about it. I would like to see in the next start what it looks like. Does he struggle to get to 5 innings? It's kind of going to be like a different conversation about
Yeah.
maybe a bullpen switch. But as of right now, I mean, the Astros need starters. So just to look out for his next start, see how he goes, how he pitches, and all that good stuff. But the offense, man, I mean, like I mentioned with game 1 of this KC opener, same thing goes against the Cincinnati game 2. Like I said, 10 runs on the board. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Astro fans were saying this game is already done. That they already lost. And sure enough, I mean, the Astros did a really good job, man. The offense specifically, I mean, finished with 14 hits. They out hit the Reds. Cincinnati only had 12 in that game. 3 hit games for Jeremy Pena and Victor Caratini. Pena had 2 RBIs, including a double. Paredes 2 hits and an RBI double. Walker with the 2 RBI triple. Diaz with 2 hits and 2 RBIs. And of course, Victor Caratini's 2 run home run. So there was not all of loss in this game. The Astros, man, they honestly made it a game because,
Yeah.
like I had mentioned, the beginning, it just looked like it was not going to happen. Like Houston was not going to score. It was going to be either 10 plus to 2 or 3 or 4. But shit, give credit to the Astros offense. They fought, they tried to find their way to get back into the game, and they just didn't happen. 13-9 at the end of the day. I think Joe Spot is very encouraged about that, about the offense at least.
Yeah, the Astros have 9 come from behind wins this season out of their 20. So it just shows their grit and their tenacity to try to win ball games. And yeah, the offense is slowly getting back to to being back on full cylinders, and that's without and that game 3 was without Jose Altuve and without Jordan Alvarez, and they still got it done. So it just goes to show that this team can compete. And that game 2, I think that's when Jose Altuve left mid game.
Yeah, he left with right hamstring tightness. When I honestly, dude, when I saw that move happen, I was kind of like thinking in my head, I was like, I don't think it's an injury. Maybe it's because Houston already has 10 runs. Maybe Joe wants to just give Altuve a breather. But then that's when they announced that he had a right hamstring tightness. So nothing too major though.
Yeah, he's played against Royals, so he should be good to go.
Yeah, do we want to say relentless or that's already passed on?
Damn, Terry passed up.
Yeah, that is very passed on. But the bullpen, you got to give them a shout out. And both bullpens combined, both teams used 11 relievers in this game combined, not just from one side, 11 relievers. So Houston had 5, Cincinnati had 6 relievers play because remember, Brady Singer, too, was not pitching his best. And I think Terry Francona kind of played it safe and is like, yeah, we're not doing this. We're not going to let Houston get back in this game because he's already seen Houston through his times with the Cleveland Indians, and he did not want to see that happen again. But Van Wy, 2 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Bennett Souza, who's really been dominant, I would say, in the bullpen so far. Inning and 2/3, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. Taylor Scott, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Stephen O'Kurt, 2 innings, a hit, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. And Caleb Bort, 1 inning, 1 hit. Excuse me. Looking at the strikeouts right now, I mean, Houston had 11 strikeouts in the bullpen with how many outs to work with? 26? It's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, like I said earlier, when the Astros are trailing after 6 innings, they're 117, but that's more of the offense. But take a look at this. After 6 innings, when the Astros are leading, they're 17-1. That's just how dominant that bullpen is. After 7 innings, they're 18-1 too. So the Astros bullpen does really a good job of shutting opponents down and securing those wins. It's just the offense just needs to give them a lead so they can shut it down.
Yeah, and then 2, Houston hasn't really used Josh Hader a lot either.
There's like a week where he went without pitching.
Yeah, that's why they had to put him in Milwaukee to pitch it was like a blowout. I think in one of game 3 of that series finale. They're like, you know what, we got to pitch him because he hasn't pitched since April, and that was a May games.
Yeah.
So, but he was able to pitch in the Hunter Brown start in game 1, and that was a win 3-0. Hunter Brown being Hunter Brown. I mean, there's really nothing else to really talk about the Diesel, and he pushed through. That's why the nickname is there. 5 2/3, 2 hits, no earned runs, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts, 101 pitches were thrown, 59 were strikes. A new season high with 4 walks. That is a shocker. However, one of those walks should have been a strikeout, but home plate umpire didn't give it to him. Yainer Diaz had to go pretty much calm down Brown. And the command was, I would say it was decent. It wasn't shaky. I wouldn't say either. It was really decent. And I mean, Brown's consecutive quality streak start came to an end with 7 quality starts in a row. Though he did a really good job striking people out. 27 strikeouts in his last 3 starts. three straight starts with 9 strikeouts. That's how much this guy has swing and missing stuff on his sinker, on his curveball, on his off speeds. I mean, he is really dominant, and he has shown Major League Baseball, baseball fans around the world, that he can be an ace in this league. And he has shown it so far through 8 starts.
Yeah, absolutely. He's what 6-1, 1.48 ERA. So he's done a really amazing job.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to try to look and make another push for AL Pitcher of the Month for the month of May. We'll have to see. He already had a good start to it when no one runs allowed, only giving up 2 walks. I mean, 2 hits, giving up 4 walks. Of course, that's the number. But the thing with Brown is like he's composed. Like even though he was rattled on that call that the Blue didn't give him that strikeout, Yiner went out there, and I thought that was a good job on his part just to go and calm Brown down because it could go like that. A snap finger game could switch up real quick, and sure enough, kept his composure, pitched a good game, and even though he didn't want to get out of the inning because, of course, I'm pretty sure he wanted to get another quality start, he understood. Joe took him out. Astros at the end of the day, and I'm pretty sure for himself wanted to get the win in that series opener against the Reds.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still early in the season, so there's no reason to push him. 101 pitches is enough. Tip of cap, he did his job. Astros won the game.
Yes, definitely. And the Astros had 13 hits as a team in this game. 4 Astros had multi-hit games. Everybody in the lineup had a hit in the batting order. Zach DeZenzo RBI single, Jeremy Pena RBI fielder's choice, and Isaac Paredes opposite field RBI double down the right field line. I don't know if you saw that swing angel that he had put on
Good.
that ball. I mean, it looked. I don't know how the hell that ball literally stayed down the line. It literally hugged down the first base line. And real quick, I just want to see how many hits Paredes has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Paredes has 8 hits to the opposite field. I would say 9. This is a right center single. So he has 9 so far this season. And let's see, looking at last year's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So he's 10 shy of getting at least tying from last year opposite field hits. And when not Yiner, when Isa Perez does that, I mean, that just makes his game even better.
Yeah. Especially the way they're playing them. They're kind of shifting up a little bit. The reason why he was able to sneak that double down the line is because the first baseman was a little shifted towards the second base side just because they know of his pull power. But I just want to give a shout out. I'm sure Astros fans are excited to see Zach Zenzo really producing, really having some great at bats in the month of May. He's only had 2 days where he hadn't had a hit. He's had a hit, you know, since he started in May, which is May 3rd, all the way to May 11th. Only May 5th and May 11th were the 2 days. So he started and didn't have a hit, but he's looked pretty good. He looked a little bit mature with his at bats and just being comfortable out there. I think having that experience from a year ago, getting those rookie jitters out, really did a great job for him. And I think he's now ready to compete, ready to show that, hey, he's ready to be in his lineup.
Yeah, basically getting that trust from his manager. And
Yeah.
just to put up a little more shout out for him being an adult and going down to the Puerto Rican Winter League to get more ABs, seeing the ball more, obviously getting that repetition, basically getting more reps at the plate so he can be ready for spring training. And he really had an impressive spring training, honestly.
Okay.
Like he honestly could have started on opening day. Of course, Cam Smith too had a really good start, but as of right now, he's batting like 214, 215.
Yeah, he's cooled down a bit.
Yeah, OPS is about 670, 660. So honestly, like we've said it, whoever has the hot hand, they're gonna stay in that lineup. And sure enough, right now DeZenzo is the hot hand. Of course, Cam Smith is getting some at bats and playing in right field, but don't be surprised if Zach DeZenzo starts starting some games while Jose Altuve goes to left. But of course, with Altuve's right hamstring tightness, Houston's trying to just play precautionary and just maybe just get him on the field at second base, or could do some DH a little bit more now.
Yeah, that's where you are now too.
Yeah, we'll have that update on Alvarez real quick. Overall thoughts: the Astros offense exceptional, exceptional this series. Game one, one walk, 13 hits, four extra base hits. Game two, seven walks, 14 hits, five extra base hits. Game three, seven walks, nine hits, two extra base hits. Angel, what did we say the last podcast episode on where Houston ranked on doubles and triples? What did they
It
need to
was
do a little bit more often?
it was in the 25th, 22nd around there. I don't have the exact numbers, but I know it was close to like the bottom.
Yes, it was. And extra base hits, basically, too, is going to get you that run support. And sure enough, Houston really did a good job doing that. Obviously, getting 6 runs in game three, 3 runs in game one, 9 runs in game two. Total overall, from them stats I just gave you with the walks, hits, and extra base hits, Houston had 15 walks, 36 hits, 11 of them being extra base hits. Home runs, doubles. We even had a triple from Christian Walker. If Houston continues to do this, they're a really good team. And just to add more stats to it, Houston's offense at home, and you had made a point about it, Angel. 266 batting average as a team, 346 on base percentage as a team, and a 741 OPS as a team. They have 94 RBIs when they play at Daikin Park. Now, when they're away from Houston, away from the Daikin Park, their offense, it's a little shaky. And I won't even really say little. It is shaky. 229 batting average, a 293 on base percentage, and a 647 OPS. 61 RBIs as a team on the road. Like we said in the beginning of this episode, too, this team is usually known for playing really well on the road. And this season, it's really been the opposite.
But I guess you can't. I guess the Astros can't blame it on the batters anymore because that's they're showing that they can win at home. They've been World Warriors for a long time, and the crazy thing about this year's against the Reds is the starting pitching was great, 2 games, right, except that 13 game. But the thing is, once this team finds it officially, because we've been praising the starting pitching since the start of the season, it's been great. They Hunter Brown, they're starting with Hunter Brown, Brown Valdez, right? Hayden was just getting some great starts there. But the offense was always lacking behind. And now when the offense is finding its, just back to back starts, well, not back to back starts, but 2 starts with Gusto and Lance McCullers hasn't been able to get past 3 innings. And they actually scored a lot of runs those games too. So it's giving them a chance. But I think once those two mold together, a lot more wins are coming.
Yeah, and we didn't even put out with the bullpen how fantastic they've been. The defense has been really well. Base running, they've been aggressive. I mean, they've done a really good job. But like you said, the biggest two things is going to be the pitching and the offense. If they gel that together correctly and efficiently, then it's a different team. And it starts with the guys in the middle of this lineup. We talked about it. If you can get Christian Walker, Jordan Alvarez, and Yiner Diaz to produce with RISP, runners in scoring position, this team is going to be lethal at the plate. And Walker's last 7 games, this really hasn't been bad. 8 for 26, 308 batting average, 387 on base percentage, a double, a triple, 6 RBIs, 3 walks. Before this game, he had 4 strikeouts, but picked up 2 in this game. And Walker, right now in the month of May, he's hitting 314. We're almost literally done with the month. Like, honestly, it'll be tomorrow will be the 13th. But May 2nd, he had a 198 batting average. Today, May 12th, Monday night, it turned into a 224 batting average. So you're seeing some little increments of going up, just going up the ladder here and there. But like you said, Angel, once he gets the feel of it, man, this guy can be deadly. And honestly, I predicted 25 to 30 home runs. Can he get there? Maybe. Still a lot of baseball left. But as long as you get the RBIs in, I think that's all that matters for him. Yes, the home runs would be very nice, but doubles and triples are nice too.
Yeah. And a little bit more on Christian Walker. He's been really great at home. I know, kind of thing with that theme of the Astros being well at home. At at Daikin Park, he's hitting 278 with 4 doubles, 1 triple, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs, and has an .855 OPS in 20 home games this season. So At home, I guess he's comfortable. He likes Dyken Park, but once he can find on the road, I think Christian Walker could be a great hitter this year.
And why did Houston go after Christian Walker besides his glove too? It was because he can hit at Dyken Park. He can pull the ball. Who's going to help you pull the ball? The Crawford boxers are going to give you some extra base hits. They're going to give you some home runs as well. So that, I mean, same goes for Yonder Diaz. Real quick to preach about him, and you said it too. It's 10 for 30, 333 batting average, slugging 500, a home run, 7 RBIs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts in the last 7 games. That is huge. In his last 15 games, he only has 9 strikeouts, 3 home runs, and 13 RBIs too in the last 15, a 542 slugging. But like you were saying with Christian Walker, he likes hitting at home. Yonder Diaz is the same way right now. Has a
Mhm.
280 batting average at Dyken Park. Away from Dyken Park, he only has a 200 batting average. OPS at Houston, 726. On the road is bad, 588. So, like you mentioned, maybe some guys just like hitting at home. That's why I had mentioned with the RBIs 94 RBIs at Dyken Park and then 61 RBIs on the road.
Yeah, and Isaac Perez, so we're talking about offense now, has a 20 game on base streak too, just because he's able to get walks. Like he walked twice today.
Leads the team,
Uh,
by the way.
yeah. So it's the longest. So this is from the game notes from today. Today says the 19 game streak is the longest by an Astro and ranks fourth longest in the AL this season. So now it's up to 20. So it's still the longest by an Astro as well too. So just increasing that number.
And that's what we had mentioned. He's going to give you some QABs, quality at bats. And sure enough, he's done that. He's worked the count, 3-2 counts, fouling off pitches, making his at bat go to 8 pitches, making it go to 11 pitches. He's just done a really good job fighting after each ball and being able either have a walk, have a strikeout, put the ball in play, base hit, home run. The end of the day, if you strike out, that's still a quality at bat because you're making the pitcher work. That pitch count's rising up, and he's just done a really good job doing that. We haven't talked about the big man, but once he gets going too, maybe the rest will help him. Jordan Alvarez is going to just fit in right. He's going to fit right in this offense.
Yep, definitely.
So, real quick before we get to that preview, Angel, I did want to talk about starting pitching because right now it looks like a plague. Starters that are out for Houston right now: Spencer Arrighetti, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, J.P. France, and now Hayden Wisniewski, who is on the IL. I know Angel will talk about that here with the injury updates. Only starters available right now for Houston: Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco, and Lance McCullers Jr. is just barely getting back into the rotation with 2 starts under his belt. So here are some options. The number one option is you're going to your farm. Ryan Gusto, you've seen what he did today, and like he's been bouncing around, like you had mentioned, going to the bullpen and being a starter. AJ Blueball, who's pitched really well in AAA. Colin Goran's another guy that Houston has yet to. I don't know if he's actually made his major league debut. I don't think he has, but he has been with the Astros organization for for a good while now. Got him in the Rule 5 draft again this season, so I know there's not a lot of starting pitchers in the market right now. Some retire, some are just not at their best. More than likely, Houston's going to stay with their farm unless a trade will be made, which I highly doubt. If it does happen, it happens. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about this starting pitching? Do you feel very confident being 10 and no issue, no problem? Because of course, everybody says Houston, we have a problem. But as of right now, I mean, what do you think about the rotation wise? Of course, we don't know the diagnosis of Wisniewski's injury. What do you think?
Well, I, I'll say like an 8 or 9, just because Hunter Brown has been great. Fernando Valdez has shown, episodes of greatness too. Bruno Blanco just coming off that, 4 consecutive good starts. Not, I know that's what Cutters will find it, but the reason why it's 8 or 9 is because these pitches don't have to be perfect. They just have to keep the Astros into the game. If they allow 2, 3 runs, the Astros can put up enough offense to counter that, take the lead. Uh, I think people are panicking just because they had 2 outlier starts, right? I don't think you'll see Lance McCullers getting out again in the entire game. I just don't see that happening. Ryan Russo got roughed up, but he's been pretty good the rest of the season. Just one bad start so far. I would say the fact that again you're still being led by Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, and Blanco. You should be good. The offense can score runs, so I'm not. If I'm a Nationals fan, or if you're a Nationals fan, you shouldn't panic or anything like that. Um, AJ Blueball when he did come up, it wasn't pretty, but he did a pretty pitch pretty good. I think Corbin Gordon, if he were to come up, could replicate that too. Again, they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to throw six shutout innings. They just have to keep the Astros, in play, give them an opportunity to score runs.
Yeah, and not to mention, Colton Gordon has been a pitcher of the year in this organization, in the farm at least. AJ Blue Ball, 4 innings, 5 hits, and 2 earned run baseball. And he honestly could have pitched another inning, but the Astros did not go another inning. Ryan Gusto just had his one of his worst starts of his career. You could bounce back easily from that. So I'll agree with you. I'm gonna go an 8 just for the fact too. Can you see consistency from Framber Valdez? Can we see less than 3 walks in a start for Ronel Blanco? Can he be consistent too with his starts? That's why I'm gonna give it an 8. Hunter Brown has been dominant, and of course, there's gonna be a start too that he may not be as dominant as he has been through these last 8 starts. You're always gonna have that one start, and so far, Hunter Brown has been really fantastic. Framber Valdez, we've talked about it in every recap, every preview with La Grasa. We always talk about either a good outing or a bad outing. You're going to have the inconsistency of great 8 innings of 2 hit, 2 earned run baseball, or you're going to get the 5 innings of 6 hits, 4 earned runs with 3 walks. So that's why with that, and then Ronel Blanco too. I mean, credit where it's due. He's having good starts. He's 3 of his last 4 starts have been quality starts. They have been really good. But of course, this game catches up to you. They're going to make adjustments. They're going to see some changes that they got to do when they play him. And like for instance, Houston's going to go to Texas, and more than likely, Ronel Blanco is going to be playing against the Rangers, where the Rangers have seen him already for a couple of starts. And then of course, McCullers Jr. just coming back from injury. Like I said, not too worried about him. But if another start happens like that, or 2 more starts like that, then you're kind of thinking too, like, okay, can McCullers Jr. give us at least 2 innings or 3 innings? Do we have to get him in the bullpen? Can he still become a starter? As of right now, Astros need starters. He's going to be a starter no matter what until Houston gets the diagnosis of Wisniewski. Of course, with Eric Getty, we have to wait on that to see how he recovers from his, I think it was a broken thumb, if I'm not mistaken. Christian Javier coming back from injury. I mean, there's a lot of things to pull apart in this. Though I will say, if Valdez and Blanco pitch consistent, I can see myself putting myself on a 9.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty reasonable there too. But are we ready for the pitching preview?
Go ahead.
Cool. So Tuesday's game, 7:10 start time. Chris Bubik versus Framber Valdez. And before I give you Framber Valdez's numbers, this is a start where the Astros are going to desperately need Framber Valdez to pitch 7, 8 innings, just because Gusto on Monday pitched 2 1/3, so the bullpen was used a lot. After Valdez, even though it's Hunter Brown's turn in the lineup, there's a high chance a rookie might be starting that game, and you just don't know how that rookie's gonna do. So this is where Fernando Valdez needs a Ronald Blanco outing, where he's controlling the strike zone, has a great outing, but there's a chance of that because Valdez right now is 2-4 with a 3.94 ERA versus Milwaukee. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. I feel if he can replicate that, the Astros for the Astros, that's a win in their book. He did throw 101 pitches, 45 sinkers, 32 curveballs, 17 changeups, 7 sliders, 2 fastballs. We know from about this to be a heavy sinker and curveball guy, but the fact that it was double-digit changeups, great changeups too, was a really game changer because it kind of threw him the hitters a little bit off balance. He did produce 12 swings and misses. Now, the key for Framber Valdez is to limit traffic. Just like Ronald Blanco, right? When Ronald Blanco starts walking hitters, allowing those simple hits, that's when he gets in trouble. And Valdez the same way. Valdez with the bases empty this season, he's allowed 22 hits, 3 doubles, 4 home runs, and 13 walks. Now the hits, okay, because hits are gonna happen. front runners with the bases empty happens all the time because that's how you start an inning. But the fact that 13 walks is kind of worrisome just because he's off the stretch for a lot longer. He has runners on, traffic on. If he can limit that, you can see a replicate outing what he did with Milwaukee. He'll be going against Chris Bubik, who is 4-2 with a 1.69 ERA. I'll say it again, 1.69 ERA. Against the White Sox, he did pitch 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. However, the Astros have seen Chris Bubik when they did go to Kansas City. This was his last outing versus Houston, which was earlier this season. It's 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. So the Astros have shown that they can hit off Chris Bubik and produce some runs. Now, let me show you this a pitch sequence versus Houston with the White Sox. So last outing versus Houston, he threw 41 fastballs, 20 sweepers, 18 changeups, 12 sliders, 2 sinkers. Against the White Sox, 37 fastballs, 25 changeups, 15 sweepers, 10 sliders, 6 sinkers. Now, the difference is he threw more sweepers and changeups. I think this outing it will be more of a fastball changeup type of day, just because the Astros lineup is right-handed heavy, and Chris Bubik has thrown 131 changeups, 127 of them to right-handed hitters. So he's only thrown 4 changeups to lefties, and with the Astros being a right-handed heavy lineup, I would see a lot. I would predict a fastball changeup mix to get those hitters off guard.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. I mean, Bubik's been really good, but
Mm.
this is another guy that's gone from a reliever into a starter. We've seen
Yeah,
this trend. Can Houston kind of break him up? I mean, it's going to be a good pitching matchup, period, no matter what.
yeah,
And like you were saying, with Framberg, he just has to limit guys on base. And when you have guys like Michael Garcia, Bobby Wood Jr., Vinny Pascatino, I mean, it's going to be tough, especially with the MVP candidate in Witt.
yeah.
And when they're on, I'm not saying Houston's not the best at throwing runners out, but they're going to try to take another bag, another 90 feet, stealing on you. So,
Yeah.
got to just limit the damage, limit runners on. And if Framber could replicate, like you said, against that Milwaukee, if he could replicate two against Kansas City, remember that
Yeah,
Kansas City star, he went 8 innings. He went that full
yeah.
game, 2 hits and 2 earned runs. Like I said, it's a game of adjustments. It's going to change. They're going to look at the scouting report. There's going to be some differences in this series. I mean, in this game at least.
See, but the thing with Framber Valdez is his stuff is so good that the Kansas City Royals are
Yeah,
they know
agree.
they're gonna see sinkers and curveballs. They know that. But the fact is control. Like, can
Yeah,
you locate his pitches,
100%.
right? And all that good stuff. Um, dang, I lost my train of thought. Dang, okay, I forgot. There's something else I was gonna say about oh yeah. The Astros did a really great job of limiting any of the clues off the base paths against the Reds, and I think that's the key to this game too, like limiting Bobby Wood Jr. because that's when all the havoc happens when he gets on base. But yeah, for sure. Wednesday game. Do I have this right? It's a 7:10 start time. The
Correct.
Wednesday
It's
game.
7:10 start time. It's
Crazy.
very strange.
Yeah.
I saw the same thing. I'm like, how the hell is it a 7:10 start time?
Okay. Appreciate that. Michael Lorenzen versus who I think. Again, it's not official yet. It still says TBA, but I think Colton Gordon will get the start for that. The reason I know that I predict this is because Dana Brown on Sports Talk 790 said Colton Gordon is a candidate to start Wednesday. As of right now, Colton Gordon is projected to start in Reno on Tuesday, which I don't think will happen. I think the Astros. Uh, I think he'll get cut. Scratch when I start to pitch with the Astros on Wednesday. Again, that's just my prediction. However, if he does pitch Tuesday, then you can absolutely cancel him for Wednesday. It is Hunter Brown's like spot start on that, but I think the Astros would rather him pitch against the Texas Rangers than a getaway game in versus the Kansas City Royals. So we'll see about that. But Conan Gordon is a 16th ranked prospect in the Astros organization, and he's done phenomenal in AAA. He's 4-0 with a 2.55 ERA versus the Salt Lake Bees. He pitched 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 0 walks, 9 strikeouts. He does come with a 4 pitch mix this far: fastball, curveball, slider, changes. So you're typical. Now Gordon's been amazing, and what's been helping them is limiting walks, that traffic. He has a 43-8 strikeout to walk ratio. So and
God.
that's in 42.1 innings pitched. So a lot a lot of strikeouts and being able to control that strikes on low command his pitches has been real key for this kid. He'll be going against Michael Lorenzen, who's 3-3 with 3.57 ERA. Michael Lorenzen's those typical guys that he's been tossed around from team to team, but he's in a shove. No matter whose opponent, just to ask the Boston Red Sox, whose offense is pretty good.
Mhm.
Against the Red Sox, he has 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 7 strikeouts. He does have a 7 pitch mix with a fastball, changeup, curveball, sinker, cutter, slider, and a sweeper. However, he's going to mostly rely on those fastball changes, curveballs. The rest of the pitches depends on a lefty, righty, situational, 1 strike, 2 strikes, stuff like that. However, he has really good off-speed stuff. He has a 37.3% whiff rate on the changeup, and when you and if the Astros are down for 2 strikes, they should be worried of that sweeper, especially for right-handed hitters, which he has a put away pitch of 24% on that pitch. So that's gonna be an interesting outing. I think the Astros, Michael Lorenzen has shown that he can get tagged, but he's also shown that he can be great at times too.
I'll say this. I think it's smart for Houston to go with Corin Gordon for the getaway game, not just because it's a getaway game, but you're giving Gordon too an extra day of rest for Tuesday. If his scheduled start is supposed to be tomorrow for Tuesday, you're going to give him an extra day of rest, get him prepared for Wednesday. It's again to get a good team too, not to mention. But
Yeah.
remember, I said this in the beginning: 17 consecutive games the Astros are going to play. They have no off day. May 9th to the 25th, nothing but baseball going each day for Houston. So more than likely, and 100% likely, in my opinion, it's going to be a 6-man rotation.
Of course.
And it's going to be a 6-man rotation. Of course, Houston, we're going to have the updates here in a second with Wisniewski, but you got Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco, As McCullers Jr., Ryan Gusto. You don't have a guy in that last spot in the 6-man. It's either a bullpen game, which I don't think Houston would like to go to, especially from
No.
these last
Yeah.
4 starts. Of course, Hunter Brown pitched well. Las McCullers didn't. Ronel Blanco pitched well. Ryan Gusto didn't. So they do. I highly doubt they want to go to a bullpen game in one of those and one of them rotation spots. So bringing Cone Gordon down, being able to make his major league debut, if he hasn't done so, like I said, I'm not
He
100% sure.
hasn't.
He hasn't, right? Okay, so yeah, making his major league debut, being in that organization specifically for so long, being a pitcher of the year in that organization, having his chance to prove and show he can do it, and he's done it in the brightest lights too. Not to mention, he pitched for Team Israel in the World Baseball Classic, so he's capable of pitching against guys like Bobby Wood Jr., against Salvador Perez. Like these guys are all stars. These are MVP candidates, World Series champion, by the way. So I think would be a great test for Gordon to go out there and make his major league debut against the Royals.
Absolutely, and it just makes sense. Like again, they are going 6 mans. I would say giving Hunter Brown an extra day of rest wouldn't do would do him some good too. Just to save those bullets. He throws a lot of strikes, a lot of pitches too. So it makes sense to me. Now you said a bullpen game, and I think if Lance McCullers gives you 5, Gusto gives you 5, I think that expands the Astros options a little bit, just because the bullpens, not all the guys are there used, but the fact that they had 2 rough outings in between, in the past 3 games, I think it kind of leads me to Conan Gordon about not make me 95% confidence that he'll pitch.
Mhm.
Uh, AJ Blueball did pitch, I believe, on I want to say Saturday or Sunday, so I don't think he'll be the
Yeah,
one
he
pitching.
pitched.
So
Oh, you're talking about in AAA. I thought you were
yeah,
talking about his debut. Sorry.
no, yeah, in AAA, he did pitch either Saturday or Sunday, one of those days. So Conan Gordon makes the most sense to me.
Just remember too, Houston they have options. They have guys that have those options in their contract. Like let's say for instance, Luis Contreras, Nick Hernandez. You got those guys down there. Of course, you're not gonna. And Miguel Castro is a minor league contract, so he wouldn't come up. But those type of guys that we had just said, like Logan Van Wy, for instance, after AJ Blue Ball pitched, they brought back. I want to say it was Van Wy. I don't have it right in front of me, but them are also options for Houston. If one guy had pitched so many innings, they're gonna bring another guy up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll see. we'll see who's on the mound on Wednesday, but I can, I'm pretty confident. Like I'll be surprised if it's like Gordon Gordon.
Yeah.
But moving on to Astros injury updates, I think the the guy that most guys or most fans want to hear about Jordan Alvarez. And on Friday, he hadn't grabbed the bat yet and was resting. You know, just making sure that's what Joe Espada emphasizes that with rest they'll be able to get Jordan Alvarez a lot sooner, a lot faster. Per Brian McTaggart on Sunday, that Jordan Alvarez is able to grab a bat. They grip the bat, and that there's a chance he'll hit off the tee on Monday. And sure enough, per Channel Rome, Jordan Alvarez hit in the cages before today's game. So I think he's eligible to come back tomorrow. I
Yep.
don't I don't think he'll come back tomorrow, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. The fact that he's in the cage is a good sign.
Mhm.
Uh, it just depends how much time you actually want to give him. Like if they deem he's ready, then he'll be in the lineup. But if they want to give him a few more days, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back maybe first game of our Rangers series. But it all depends how his hand felt hitting in the cages, because it's one thing to grip the bat, but it's another thing when your bat makes contact with the ball, because as you know, for those who play baseball, especially with wood bats, there's a lot of vibration on the bat, especially if you get jammed off the tip, like off the end of the bat. That bat vibrates and it can, make the hand a little bit uncomfortable there.
I'm trying to think in my head too. It's his bottom hand, so of course for a lefty, your top hand's up here, and your bottom hand's down here. So
Yeah.
of course you're getting all that power and that strength and that control of the bat, knob to the baseball. I don't know, however, whoever teaches kids now how to swing the bat, but of course you always heard that term, knob to the ball, to make contact. And like you said, Angel, like maybe getting jammed too can kind of irritate that hand. But yeah, I agree. If he's not fully 100% healthy, there's no need to rush him back, because you don't. If you're Houston, you don't want to make it worse for him.
Yeah, and the Astros have shown they can score runs without Jordan Alvarez in the lineup, and they did it with the Red Series. So there's no, yes, you probably seen the 2020 uh record. It was like your Astros fans probably panicking, hey, but they're still in the mix for the division. I think they're two and a half games back right now. And right now, Seattle's losing 8-4 to the Yankees. So there's chances that the Astros aren't in a bad spot. So they probably won't want to rush them there. A guy that we're that we're still waiting to hear from a little bit more is Hayden Wesneski. Uh, when I was there on Friday, um, Espada called. Espada said that Wesneski called on Thursdays to say that his elbow is sore. They went ahead and placed him on the 15-day IL just to for the injury to heal, of course.
Mhm.
And he is seeing team doctors, which is waiting word of exactly what those doctors said. And go ahead.
No, no, no. Finish it off. Finish off.
I would just say, and then some good news if you're an Astros fan. Christian Javier threw a 15 pitch bullpen in Florida and the Astros spring training complex there. So that's a good sign to see if you're an Astros fan.
Definitely, definitely on that. Hypothetical, and just throwing it out there scenario. We're not speculating. We're not doing that. Um, if Wisniewski, like I said, the worst of the worst is Tommy John. If he has to get Tommy John, and let's say Spencer Rigetti is still yet to that thumb is still yet to heal, and maybe he may need surgery. Does Houston look into making a trade pretty damn soon?
I would say so. But if you'd have told me just if Wozensky's out, I would say no, just because you have Spencer Getty coming back, and he can take over that position. And I think I just dug it out a little bit with Gusto or Gordon, whoever has been pitching well. But
Mhm.
if they're both out, then yes, I could see that a trade coming soon. Just because having two rookie or two inexperienced starters is, one you can deal with, but two, that's when it kind of makes things a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, like I said, just speculating, just thinking of. Of course, you don't want to think of the worst, but of course, you have to play these scenarios out just to see the options that Houston has. And Houston really doesn't. Do you feel comfortable putting Ryan Gusto or AJ Blueball or Cone Gordon in your rotation in a division that's really tossed up in the air between Houston, Oakland, Well, you can't even say Oakland. Athletics, the Rangers, and Seattle.
I mean, again, one of those guys, yes, but once you're, having to put both, two or more rookies or again, like I said, two inexperienced starting pitchers, and that's when it can be a problem because then that's gonna make one of Hunter Brown, Rob Valdez, run up a little bit overworked just because they're trying to do a little too much because they know, what's behind them, and it's just that's when I think a move would be done.
Yeah, and this is unfortunate for Houston because I mean they when you look on paper, they have so much starting depth. So much starting depth. Before the season, you had Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco, Spencer Arrighetti, and Hayden Wisniewski. You were like, if you're a Houston Astros fan, you were like, hell yeah, it's looking good. We're gonna have McCullers come back pretty soon, and all of that. Well, look at it right now. Houston has 3 out of them 5 guys. Arrighetti and Wisniewski, your back end of your rotation right now doesn't have that solidification. Lance McCullers is barely coming back, and you just saw his second start. Like I said, you got to be, if you're a Nationals fan, you got to hope and be optimistic. This next upcoming start for McCullers, and even I would even say the second one as well, besides the next one for him, you have to be optimistic and very humble on seeing how he progresses and how he comes out of these starts.
Yeah,
Comes
I
out
would say.
shaky, it's gonna be an interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah, I would say the next 3, 4 starts that McCutters has kind of will better give us an idea of where he's at. This one I'm just gonna toss it out the way. I would say this one doesn't count, but I'm curious to see what his pitch mix is like in the next 3, 4 games. Uh, is he throwing a little bit more fastballs? Is he still sticking to the breaking ball a little bit more? It's just to see. I'm curious to see it. So I would say the next 3, 4 starts from McCutters kind of gives us an idea of where he's at.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean Houston, he's a starter, and right now Houston needs starting pitching. So, like I said, either Houston's gonna have to ride it out with McCullers, like you had mentioned, in the next 3 or 4 starts, having to see where he's at. If it's not good, maybe it's another topic of discussion for them to look at. And then after that, I mean, who's going to be that number 4, number 5 guy in this rotation? With, of course, we don't have no update on Wisniewski's injury. We don't have no update on Arrighetti's injury. If you're Houston, you're hoping for the best for this rotation for those 2 guys because you really need them in your rotation if you're going to compete in this American League West throughout this whole season.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, this American League Wrestling, like we kind of predicted in the beginning of the season, it's going to be a tight race, and as advertised, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and not to mention too, you never know with setbacks. Like think about it, Lance McCullers and Garcia had setbacks last season. With Javier, with JP France, of course, Luis Garcia, we don't have no update on him either. You don't know if they're going to have setbacks in their rehab process. So just to think about in the long term, we're going to know we're getting too ahead of ourselves, but you want to be prepared to see what you have coming up, what you can do to put your team in a better position to win. And even for your rotation, like you said, Angel, you don't want to put all that pressure on Blanco and Brown and Valdez because I mean, they're going to be taxed and they're going to catch some fatigue here pretty soon. But in it off, Houston did give these out. I don't know if you had to grab one. The
Nah,
Astros had given this shout out to them. Altuve doing a bubble gum. That's pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie. It's like glass.
is it
Yeah, pretty sick.
okay?
But yeah, it would have been cool too if he would have bought some glasses or something. But yeah, well, like I said, we're gonna have to do a giveaway pretty soon. I don't know when, but we will do one because it's been a while since we've done one. Angel, who's winning? Who's losing? Why we got that stink face there?
But I was trying to look at the game without my glasses on, but Yankees are winning. I think 10-5.
Gotcha. End of our show right here, episode 257 in the books. Continue to follow us at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter, TikTok, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram, and on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell because we will be posting some content here pretty soon. We did a fun interview with Tony Perez Chica, the third base coach and infield coordinator, just talking about basic infield drills, what he works with his infielders. and all that type of stuff. So it was a really cool interview. We'll put that out there pretty soon this week. And if you'd love to listen to our beautiful voices, if you don't want to see our hideous faces, you want to hear us during your son's or daughter's batting, baseball or softball practice, you just want to hear us on the road when you go to South Padre Island or in Galveston, Texas. I don't know why you would want to go to Galveston, but at the end of the day, if you want to go, you want to go. Make sure you go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Like, rate, and hit that review button. Then we can know what we need to do better. What send us some feedback. What we do good, what we do better, what we haven't done really well, what we need to improve on. We really appreciate all of that. Cantu, final thoughts before we sign off.
No, just thank you for sticking to us to the end. Really great crowd showing up, and peace.
Yeah, we'll talk to y'all soon. We'll get that recap of this rest of this Kansas City series, and then we'll get you the preview of the first series of the Lone Star Showdown, the Battle of the Boot, whatever you want to call this rivalry of one quote unquote rivalry of Houston and Texas. It'll be a good one because both of them right now are in second and third place in this division. One could carry a little bit more momentum. One of them may drop down the standings. But until then, y'all stay safe. Have a great week. And we'll talk to y'all after this recap of this Kansas City series. See ya.
Peace.